Hey guys, good morning. Hope you're all doing well and welcome back to Move Well Wednesday. So for today's routine, all you're gonna need is your mat as well as either a chair or a couch, whatever's easier on you. I'm just gonna go ahead and check a few comments just to make sure that my screen is horizontally. That's usually the mistake I tend to make. So for those who are on, just go ahead and make sure that you see me horizontally and not vertically. And then once I get that confirmation, we'll go ahead and start. All right. I got the confirmation that I am horizontally, so let's go ahead and start with our routine. So again, mobility flow. Again, all you're gonna need is your mat as well as either a chair or a couch. I'm gonna go ahead and use a chair. It's gonna be the same exact effect. So everything that we do is gonna be done for a minute, and we'll go ahead and move on from there. So I'll periodically go towards the computer just to go ahead and check some comments. But other than that, let's go ahead and start, everyone. So for today's, we're gonna go ahead and start off with a little bit of a rocking motion. The way you're gonna initiate that is, I want you to start off at the edge of your mat. Chest is up. I want you to go ahead and hug your shins. So what I wanna keep in mind here is I wanna tuck my tailbone under. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna gently rock back and come forward. So in order to smoothly rock back and forward, what you're gonna need to do is really tuck your tailbone under so it isn't a rigid flow. So let's go ahead and start off with that. Once you're ready, let's take a deep breath in. 3, 2, 1, let's go for it, everyone. Again, just hug your shins, chest is up, tuck that tailbone under, and you're gonna come right up. So right here. Just moving nice and slow. One thing I love about rocking movement is it's a good way to wake the body up, especially because for most of us, this is probably the first movement that we're getting throughout the entire day. So it's a good little way to wake your body up. It's nice and gentle. As long as we keep our tailbone tucked in and our chest up nice and high. Again, tuck that tailbone right under, keep that chest up nice and high. We got about 30 seconds, everyone, so keep that up. Very nice. Again, tuck that tailbone right under and make sure you're moving with your breath. Inhaling back, exhaling, coming up. You just want to be nice and gentle with the body with this movement, and it's okay if you are sliding and gliding forward. That's happening to me. Keep going for 10. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Very nice, everyone. All right, so for the next one, I want you guys to start off in a child's pose. So the way I initiate this is I like my knees out nice and wide and my feet tucked in. I'm gonna extend out both arms, and what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna sit back, and in this position, I like to create movement within movement. So what that means is I'm just gonna sway my body as long as it feels good. Swaying my body left, swaying my body right. So let's hang out here for another 5, 4, 3, 2. From here, I want you guys to round that spine, come down, lift, then you're gonna look over your right and left shoulder. Again, going back into our child's pose, finding movement within that movement. I'm gonna round my spine, drop my tailbone, look over my right, look over my left. I'm gonna go ahead and do it facing you all as well. So I'm gonna start off in that child's pose, find movement within that movement, round my spine, drop my tailbone, chest is up, looking over my right shoulder, looking over my left shoulder. Very nice, everyone. Let's keep going with that movement. Again, just listen to your body. As long as the movement within movement feels good, go ahead and continue it. I like it because I tend to have very tight lats, so right about here, and it helps me just open that up a little bit. So right here, let's hang out here for 4, 3, 2, round that spine up, drop that tailbone, look over your right shoulder, your left shoulder. Let's go one more time, everyone. Again, find that movement within movement. Just make sure you're breathing and moving within your breath, dropping that tailbone, looking over each shoulder. So now, let's hop back into our child's pose. But what we're gonna do here is we're gonna walk our hands towards one side. The way that's gonna look is in this position, I'm gonna go ahead and walk myself all the way towards one side, hold for about 5 seconds, just breathe through that, come back, and walk yourself the other direction. What that's gonna work on is your lats, so right about here. It's one of the biggest muscles in your body, not the biggest. And yeah, we're just gonna stretch this out a little bit. So you wanna walk towards your end range. So for me, like I said, my lats tend to be very tight. So this is my end range, but if you can walk further than me, please, by all means, go for it. Again, just move with the breath. Sometimes when the stretch is very intense for me, just like this one, I tend to just hold my breath and just hold my breath, but that's one thing that I know I gotta work on. So let's keep that up. 20 seconds, everyone. I'm just gonna go ahead and check the comments. Go ahead and continue. What's up, Maddie? What's up, Joe? I'm taking it easy on my foot, believe me, or I'm attempting to at least. What's up, guys? Continue that out for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Very nice, guys. So now let's hop up into our down dog. So I usually do a modification or a modified version of it because everything in my body is just very tight. So what I do here is I'm going to hop up, but I'm going to bend my knees. So in this position, I'm going to go ahead and pedal my ankles out a little bit, pedaling my calves. From there, I want you guys to drop your knees and go into a cat to camel. So it's going to be 2 movements fused together. So go ahead and start off with your cat to camel, wrists beneath your shoulders, knees beneath your hips. You're going to round that spine up, arch. When you finish this movement, hop up directly into your down dog, whether it's the progressed version or the modified version. So I prefer to do the modified. Come back in, round that spine up, arch that spine. Try to get as much movement within that spine as possible. Again, you're welcome to go progressed version, which is right here. It may not look that good, but you know I'm trying my best with that one. Rounding, we're gonna go straight into that cat camel. From here, hop right back up, pedal the calves out as long as that feels good. Drop back down, round that shoulder, looking right back up. So when it comes to that cat to camel movement, I want you guys to be aware of your elbows. I don't want you to necessarily have to bend when you go through that rounding and that caving. Just make sure that you're rotating your elbows forward. So make sure, just like Joe mentions, the eye of the elbow should be looking forward, and that should help you hold that position instead of dropping down. So let's keep that up for 15 seconds, guys. So about 2 more. Again, make sure you're moving with the breath. Pedal those calves out as long as it feels good. Give me the final one, and then we'll move on from here. Go 4, 3, 2, 1. Very nice, everyone. So for this upcoming movement, we're going to work on our T-spine, so right about in this mid area. What I want you to do is, coming into this seated position, I want you to plant your elbow right beneath your shoulder, so right about here. I'm going to show this in 2 different angles, so this is going to be the first one. So my elbow is right beneath my shoulder. My other hand has my is on my ear, and what I'm going to do is rotate in and then come right back out. So inhale in, exhale, come out. You're more than welcome to do this movement up here if it does aggravate your elbow. So you have the option of doing it on your wrist or down onto your elbow. So you go elbow to elbow, then we're going to rotate up. So inhaling down, exhaling up to show you from the side view. Elbow beneath my shoulder. I'm going to go elbow to elbow, then rotate right back out. Making sure we're moving with our breath with this movement, everyone. Again, what tends to happen for me, which I'm pretty sure is common, is when the stretch is a little intense for me, I tend to just hold my breath. So let's just make sure we're breathing through this movement. Inhaling in, exhaling out. 15 seconds left. Again, making sure we're moving with our breath. We've got 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and switch. Planting that elbow beneath your shoulder, hand on your ear. You're going to rotate in, elbow to elbow, rotate out. Trying to get as much movement and rotation as possible. Again, just make sure you're moving with your breath. That's going to be the hardest thing to achieve with all of these movements. And it's normal. I'm just going to go ahead and check on some comments if there are any. Don't think so. Good morning. Keep that up for 15, everyone. And then we'll move on from here. Our upcoming movement is going to be a bird dog. So let me come to the side. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and come up. So with the bird dog, we're going to initiate it in a quadruped position. So wrists beneath your shoulders, knees beneath your hips. In this position, I'm going to go right elbow to left knee. So the way that's going to look is my right elbow and left knee will meet first. Then I'm going to go ahead and come right out. So I'm going to meet first, and I'm going to go ahead and expand out. So this is going to be a lot of core in one movement. What I want you to be cautious about is I do tend to have weak wrists, let's just say. So sometimes being in that position does aggravate my wrists. What we can do is you're more than welcome to go fist down or even holding on to a dumbbell. So 2 options for that, but let's go ahead and go right elbow to left knee. You're going to inhale in, exhale, open up. Inhale in, exhale, open up. What I want you to be cautious about is towards that end, I want you to make sure you're flexing your quad, you're flexing your glute, and your ankle is flexed as well. So all 3 joints are going to be nice and flexed, and then you come back in. 15 seconds on this side for a total of 30, and we'll go ahead and switch. Again, make sure you're moving with that breath. Inhaling in, exhaling out. 7 seconds, everyone. 3, 2, 1. We're going to skip that one out. Go ahead and switch. So now, left hand and right knee. Again, the most important thing with this movement is going to be right about here. It's that crunch aspect. So I want you to physically apply pressure from your knee into your elbow. So that's going to get you to contract a little bit. And then open up, expand, tighten the quad, tighten the glute, hold for 2. Once I get my balance, come back in. Again, you want to hold each end range for about 2 seconds. Holding each end range for about 2 seconds. When your wrists get tired, go ahead and create that fist. That usually helps me. 10 seconds, everyone. We're going to be going into our little hip flexor stretch. So in 5, I want you to either grab your chair or your couch. Well, you can't really grab your couch, but head towards your couch. So go ahead and rest. With this movement, I know we worked on it last time. It's going to be just a little different variation of it. So when it comes to mobility, it's all about consistency. So there's going to be a couple movements that I'm going to be placing into the mobility flows regularly and consistently. This will most likely be one of them because it's a good little hip flexor stretch. So with this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to plant my right foot forward and my left foot is going to come up onto the chair. I'll give you guys 2 different versions. One is just going to be off the ground because elevating it does tend to make it a little more, it tends to intensify it just a little bit. So I'm going to go right foot forward, left knee is down, and my foot is up. Your second step comes from tucking that tailbone under. So you may not see it, but what I'm doing is I'm physically tucking my tailbone under, and that already for me stretches all of this out. So what I tend to have to do is come out of it periodically and come back in, which is okay. So I'm just gonna hold here for about 10 seconds, let my muscle just kind of relax. So usually when we're doing any stretches, we tend to want to hold it for about 15 seconds. That's usually the period where your muscle is like, okay, like this is going to help us, so let's relax. In the beginning, what happens when you take a muscle into a stretch is it contracts. It's like, we don't want to go there. We don't want to go there until 15, 20 seconds in, it's kind of like, okay, this kind of feels comfortable. So right now, it is still not comfortable for me, so I'm going to go ahead and hold a little longer. For those who want to progress from the movement, I want you to go Mickey Mouse ears. So both hands on your ears. What you're going to do is you're going to bring your elbow into your knee. So this is going to get some glute action as well. You're going to rotate in as much as you can go. This is as far as I can go. Then rotate out. So again, we're working on rotation as well as some glute action. Rotate in, come back out. For those who choose to do it off the ground, it's going to be the same exact thing. So what I want you to notice is my hips right now. What I'm going to do is tuck my tailbone under. I'm going to come into the same position and we're going to rotate in. The most important thing is going to be keeping that tailbone under when you move. So I don't want it to look like this, where if you can see, I'm no longer tucking, I'm sticking my butt out basically. So I want you guys to keep that glute tucked in, or that tailbone tucked in, and then move. It's going to be a nice little glute stretch, as well as that hip and rotation. So keep that up. Let's go for about 15 more seconds with that movement, and then we'll go ahead and switch to the other side. So again, if you need to come out of that movement, please feel free to do so. Again, like I said, for me, it is a deep stretch or a deep pull. So there may be times where I need to come out of it. Jonathan, I think this should be a good one for you. Or even the one that we worked on last time with the 3 planes of movement. So 5, 4, 3, 2, go ahead and switch to side. So again, we're gonna start off that movement with just holding it until you feel like your muscle is relaxing. The natural, the natural reflex of the muscle is to is to contract when we put it in a stretch. So we tend to need to hold it for about 15 to 20 seconds until it kind of just relaxes. So let's go ahead and hold, again, tucking that tailbone under. For those who are doing it without the chair or without the couch, same exact thing. Just breathe through that movement. Now, Mickey Mouse ears, so hands right behind your ears. You're gonna bring that elbow into that knee, keeping that tailbone tucked in. So what I'm really doing is I'm pushing my foot into the ground. That's getting my glute nice and tight. So that being my first step, then I rotate from there. So I like to think about the foot as a tripod. You want to dig your toe, your pinky, and your heel into the ground so you're more stable, and then I'm tightening up my quad, then I'm moving with my movement. That is a little too intense with that one, which is okay. Again, same exact thing. I'm going to dig my foot into the ground, create that nice little tension, then rotate in. So that glute should be on fire. If you don't feel it, if you don't feel like it's targeting your glute, dig the foot down. If I came and tried to lift your foot up from underneath your thigh, I don't want you to allow me to do that. So I want there to be maximal tension. So maximal tension as you move with that movement. 10 seconds, everyone. Keep that up for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Very nice. Oh, that one gets me. So now, I want you guys to come up into your high plank push-up position. What we're gonna do here is I'm gonna give you guys a different variation to a spider walk that I've been working on for quite some time now. So high plank, I'm gonna step my right foot in, drop my elbow, just the way we typically do it, lift up. Now I'm gonna rotate, and I'm gonna go into a Cossack squat or a lateral lunge. So I shift, and I come into my Cossack squat. So let me switch my side so you guys can see it. So I'm going left foot, dropping that elbow, lifting up. I'm gonna pivot. Notice how I pivot that foot, and I come into my Cossack squat. Hands come down. We're gonna stick to one side for a minute, and then we'll go ahead and switch. So let's get into our high plank position. Let's go with our left foot first, so you guys can watch me as you do it. So step that left foot in, drop that elbow, lift up. Now you're gonna rotate and come into your lateral lunge or Cossack squat. Back down, same side, elbow down, lift up, walk yourself into that Cossack squat. Back down. So you're more than welcome to go faster than me or slower than me, as long as you're just listening to your body. Do what makes you feel good with that movement. If you want to go ahead and hold this for a little longer, by all means go for it. Halfway, everyone. And be very careful with this movement. Even though I am going down, I'm keeping a neutral spine. So we never want to round our spine in this position. We still want to keep that neutral spine. Just keep that in mind as you go through this movement. 15 seconds, and we're going to go ahead and switch. It's with the Cossack squat or the lateral lunge, just be very careful because it's tugging on your inner thigh, and sometimes that can be a very deep stretch. So just be a little cautious with that when you're going through it. This is the last one here, everyone, and then we're going to go ahead and switch. Very nice. Come back into your push-up high plank position. Go ahead and step that right foot forward. Drop that elbow. Rotate towards that side. Same exact thing. Same exact thing. A modification is going to be just a lateral lunge. So what I'm doing is I'm lifting my toe up, which is the Cossack squat. Keep that toe down and just go your basic lateral lunge. That'll make the movement just a little bit easier. I didn't do this side. Right here. Again, make sure you're moving with your breath. So all I'm doing is pivoting my foot in order to get to my Cossack or my lateral lunge. We've got a couple more movements, everyone, and then we're done. Again, you're welcome to go faster than me, slower than me. It's all up to you guys. 15 seconds. Keep that up for 7, 6, 5. We're going to be up on our feet in 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and hop up onto your feet, everyone. The next one is going to be our toe touch squat. Again, when it comes to mobility, it's all about consistency. So there's a couple movements that I'm going to continually put in there. This is going to be one. So feet are going to be about hip distance apart. We're going to hip hinge down. So to show you from a different angle, I'm going to hip hinge down. Hands come down. So I like to find movement within movement. So what that means is I'm going to try to sway as long as this feels good. When I'm ready, I'm going to hop in to my deep squat. So what I do with my deep squat is my knees are out wide and my chest is up. From here, I'm going to go ahead and find movement again. What you want to be cautious about is not letting your heel lift off the ground. So mine, because my ankle mobility is not the very best, mine are pretty limited. My movement within movement is pretty limited when it comes to this, and that's okay. As long as you don't lift that heel off the ground, then we're good. Again, hopping right back up, introducing that movement whenever you're ready, going right down into your squat. Chest is up, and I like to go praying mantis, so my elbows are pressing out against my knees, and that gives me a nice little hip stretch or a hip pull. So this movement has been helping me develop a better ankle mobility as well as hamstring mobility. Those of you that I've worked with know that I cannot touch my toes, but I can touch them now. I gotta go through a couple rounds, but I can't hold it yet, but I can touch it. That's all that matters. So getting a little better, slowly. Let's go for 15 seconds. The next movement is gonna be a little challenging, so I'm gonna provide different variations of that movement. So keep going, give me one final one, and then go ahead and hop up onto your feet. All right, go ahead and hop up onto your feet. So with this movement, you're gonna start in a sumo squat. The way your sumo squat looks is your feet are wider than your shoulders. Your toes are gonna point out. Yeah, I'm a little out of breath. What you're gonna do here is come into your sumo squat. The first thing I want you to notice are your knees. I don't want your knees to cave in. So if you're looking at your toes, I want them to be over your second and third toe. So pushing them out, making sure that they're within our second and third toe. What we're gonna do here is internal rotation of the hip. So the way it looks is two ways. I'm gonna give you a level 1, which is gonna be a little easier. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm going to rotate. Notice when I rotate, I come to the balls of my feet. So that's gonna be step 1. I'm gonna go a couple times just until you kind of see the movement. What you're doing here is you're playing around with the hip. So it's gonna be internally rotating the hip. You shouldn't feel any pressure or pain in your knees. So just a little side note. Variation 2, which is a little harder, what you're gonna do is you're gonna roll to the midfoot or to the side of your foot, outside of your foot. So if you're looking, do you notice how I don't twist anymore? I'm gonna come to the outside or the inside of my foot and then rotate, inside of my foot and then rotate. So that one is a little bit of a deeper pull on that hip. So you're welcome to play around with both. I like to introduce both in there just because this one tends to, it's a deep stretch for me. So I go a couple times here and then I'll go ahead and switch. Initiating this movement from my hip. Initiating this movement from my hip. So that's what I want you guys to be cautious about is, are you feeling it in your knees? And if you are, watch your hips. So I put my hands on my hips the first time I did this, just to feel that my hip is doing it and not my knee. So hands on your hips if you are feeling it a little bit in your knees, and let's make sure that you're rotating with your hip. So use your hands to guide you into the position that you want to be in. So continue that for 15 seconds, everyone. We got 2 more. So I like this one. Again, it's just a different variation. I know that there's going to be a couple movements that I'm going to be very, very consistent with. The toe touch squat is going to be one of them, but I still want to spark it up and add some different variations to movements. So this was one that I saw a couple weeks back and I really liked it. These last 2 are going to get our heart rates down because I know you know that my heart rate is elevated right now. So this is one that Jonathan and Joe have taught me for my crappy little shoulders. You're going to go ahead and lie down facing down. So it's going to be hard to do it and to explain, so I'm going to do it once. I'll hop out and I'll explain and I'll coach you guys through it. So I'm going to go face down. I'm going to bring my hands out in front. What I'm doing different is I'm going to keep my head up just so I can explain, because if I go down, you won't be able to hear me. So ideally, I want your forehead on the ground. So this is going to be called your knife edge, basically fingers pointing forward. What you're going to do here is lift your hands off the ground. You're going to pull them right back, bring it down, lift it up, and come back into your position. Again, you go knife edge, pull it right back, hand right parallel to your chest, lift that back up, squeeze that shoulder blade, come right back out. So go ahead and start up on your stomach. I want your forehead to be resting on the ground. You're going to create a knife edge. It's going to look just like so. From there, I want you to lift your shoulders off the ground. I want you to track them back all the way, keeping your shoulder blades squeezed. Hand is parallel to your chest. Lift that right back up, squeeze the shoulder blade, come out in front. So you lift, you bring them back, you drop them, you lift, you bring them back, you drop them. So that's going to be working on your shoulder mobility, which is something that I should be doing right now, but I'll do it later. So again, knife edge, I want you to make sure that you're squeezing your shoulder blade throughout that entire movement. That's going to be a little tricky. For me, the hardest part about this movement is breathing. I will not breathe through this one. It is so, my shoulders are not good. So this movement, it doesn't hurt my shoulders, there's no pain. It's just very, very tight and very limited in range. So when I do this movement, I do not breathe. And that is one thing that I am trying to work on. So just make sure you're breathing through this movement. I know it's easy to just hold your breath, but continue this movement, squeezing your shoulder blades. We've got one final one from here, and we're all done. Keep that up for 15, everyone. Give me one more, and then we're gonna end off with the crocodile breathing. So I'll explain that when you're there. And go ahead and relax. So crocodile breathing, you're gonna be in the same position you're in now. So extended, I want you to rest your head upon your forearms. So right about so. In that position, I want you to tuck your toes in. And what you're gonna do here is, again, I'm not gonna be able to do it, is it's gonna be the belly breathing that we've been working on. So I want you to take a deep breath in, and I want it to expand your belly. So getting nice and big with your belly. When you exhale, bring your belly button towards your spine. So you're gonna inhale for about 4 seconds, hold for about 4, then you're gonna exhale nice and slow. So I want this to kind of just get our heart rates back to our resting position if it did elevate a little too high. Again, resting your head upon your forearms, taking that deep breath in, allowing your belly to round, holding it at the top. Then when you exhale, bring your belly button towards your spine. That should get your core active a little bit. And the goal with this one is just getting our heart rates back down to our resting. So continue with that movement. We're gonna go for about 30 seconds and we're all done from here, everyone. So keep that up. We want to introduce movement within our rib cage. So this is what that movement also works on, but it's a good little finisher just to get our heart rates back down to our resting instead of ending it off with something that's a little more intense. So keep that up for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and take a couple deep breaths, and we're all done. Thank you so much for joining, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your day.